Becky's running down Ross. Martin and all them are over there chasing him. Shit, you sprayed me too, but luckily didn't get my eyes, just on my eyebrow. I hope they stop as a I hope they stop at Memphis calling for other cars because him and Martin are chasing him.
So that's Caucasian hands. That would be the 6th police officer. You had 5 cops who got fired within 13 days in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, Memphis is KKK Central. That's where Nathan Bedford Forrest first founded the KKK. Memphis is also, they killed MLK in Memphis. Memphis got, MLK is going to get assassinated by, we're told, a lone, white supremacist, but the FBI was right there on the scene. And the FBI also, wrote a letter telling MLK to go kill himself. So you think that's going to be an organization that would protect the closest thing that we've ever seen to a Jesus Christ here on earth? So Memphis is KKK Central. Is this racist? Is it not racist? I'm not even going to engage in that. I'm just going to tell you straight up that you had 5 cops that were being fired in 13 days. Yeah, it had something to do with race that the black cops got fired so quickly, but that's what should have happened. And Ben Crump is sitting there pointing out that no, he said 20 days, but it's actually 13 days. Ben Crump is a badass. He is sitting there saying we got a new blueprint. We got a brand new blueprint. A lot of times you'll have the cops and the system say that they can't fire the person, they can't charge the person. They have 1,017 different excuses. Samantha Ramsey, they didn't charge anybody in Samantha Ramsey's murder until after the election. So it made sure everybody, the establishment, politicians, got reelected. And then they were going to handle the case after the fact. 5 black cops in Memphis being fired in 13 days. That does give us a brand new blueprint. The veil has been lifted. We see that Oz is just a little old man off to the side. He's not a large gargantuan god. The veil has been lifted. There's no more illusions. The police are crap. The police are no good in America. The police are just a bunch of fascist, authoritarian, fucking criminal terrorist pieces of shit. Yes, they love power. They love power. They love picking on innocent folks. They love using violence and putting pain upon people. They're afraid of dangerous gangs. They would rather just beat up on one single individual. Cops are crap. Cops are crap. I got 41 years of experience. Cops can target just one person for no goddamn fucking reason and keep on beating on them until they die. Why? What the fuck is the matter with you motherfuckers? Was that a hit? Was that a gang hit? Was it because he had slept with your wife or something? She's allowed to, she's an adult and she went over to his house. I don't even know. Sorry that you hurt, man. I'm sorry that you hurt. Get some therapy or, get one of your boys in blue. Thin blue line assholes. Can't you talk to each other? Thin blue assholes are just fascist assholes. Thin blue assholes don't know right from wrong. Thin blue asshole says if you have a badge and have a gun and a hat, if you're one of us, if you're a cop, then you could commit any and every goddamn crime that you want to commit. But who's going to look at this Memphis beating and say that what they did was good and proper? And justice is an eye for an eye, and nobody's supposed to be above the rule of law. Was this premeditated murder? Did we catch premeditated murder on the dash cam and on the body cameras? And thank God for the dash cam and the body camera and that camera up on the pole. Authoritarians do protect each other. Nixon pardoned that My Lai massacre guy. It's like an authority figure can't do anything wrong. What about that one perverted cop? That perverted cop who catfished himself. He was sitting there talking to some teenager in California, fell in love with her. And then he tried to meet her and killed her entire family. Who is that motherfucker? These thin blue line assholes are just fast. You don't know right from wrong. You can't tell. My Lai massacre, how many innocent old people, women and children was killed in My Lai? 200, 300 people? It's the rape of Nanking. It's like an authority figure can't ever do anything wrong. The rape of Nanking. You know, actually, blind obedience to authority is why we have genocide. Blind obedience to authority is why we have war. Blind obedience to authority is why we have the worst atrocities that man can commit against each other. War, genocide, slavery, all happens because of a blind obedience to authority. We have been pretending that the police in America are like immortal gods who's totally infallible, who's above the law. When police themselves have sketchy origins. Police were the slave catchers. George Washington had the federal police go and catch any of the black folks that ran off of his plantation. Police cracked the heads of laborers during their labor disputes. The Pinkertons got their rise from smashing labor disputes. Bob Mackey on the Shield. This elite police force, Scorpion, Viper Squad. You want to believe that the police are out there doing good, but look at Uvalde. Look at Uvalde. Look at the blind man. They arrested a blind man for carrying a cane. They shot and killed a quadriplegic, a guy running on his stumps. And I don't even know why they killed Tyree. What's his name? Tyree. I don't know why they killed him. They said it was a traffic stop, reckless driving. But I don't see that in the camera. He was only like 3 doors from his house. And then I'm hearing just in the rumor mill, but it's being floated. But it's a possibility that Tyree could have slept with one of the cops' wives. Or that the wives was in love with him. And this is what they do. Looks like a gangster hit to me. The Viper Squad, hell, that was Louisville, Kentucky. The head of the Viper Squad was somebody who had killed a black man. So Ben Crump for president. Ben Crump is a badass. Ben Crump, they act like, well, okay, you know what I want an elite cop squad to be? Not motherfuckers that's above the police, but I want a good cop watch. I want the cops that arrest the other cops. That's a badass fucking cop. A cop who can arrest another cop, that's a super fucking cop right there. A cop who can be a part of the internal affairs and can be a cop watcher and be a good cop. He goes after the criminals and the hardened criminals, the felons, right? Not gonna... That's a badass cop right there. A Serpico, that's a badass cop right there. Serpico looked at the entire police department and said he's the good one. And he's not gonna go with your grift. He's not gonna be on the take. He's not gonna take your bribes. Ben Crump asked, how can you be afraid for your life when the black man is running away from you? A double amputee. That's not a quadriplegic, a double amputee. You all right? Spit it out. So 5 cops in Memphis being charged and fired. God, man, that's nasty sounding. Can you hurry up? They were fired right away. So it's great that we had the Civil War. The black man as a man. The black man as a citizen. The black man gets to vote. The black man gets to become a cop. I'm happy, you know, all the way up to that point. But it's crystal clear now what we can do when we see 5 police officers or 6 or 7 or 8 and EMS and firefighters not doing shit. We can fire them all. It doesn't take years and years to make a change to charge a cop or to fire them. It happened in 13 days. I want community policing. I want cops playing basketball leagues with the local men. I want the cops playing basketball with the citizens, with the residents, to mingle amongst us and be with us those that you purport to serve and protect. How can you teach us when you can't even reach us? How can you police us when you can't even reach us? Where's the police union? Where's the thin blue line people? This totally destroys the thin blue line people, doesn't it? I mean, if cops can't tell the difference between some random gang beating and a legitimate police action, what the hell are they goddamn doing? This whole thing reminds me of a moment in the Civil War when the Confederacy allowed the black man to carry a gun in limited circumstances, but it was at the end of the war in 1865. The Confederacy was desperate. They were on the run. And once the Confederacy had adopted that the black man can join their ranks, carry a gun, he is now a man. He is not an inferior being. He isn't a terrible, wicked, inferior. The black man was supposed to be, that's what the Confederates had argued, that he wasn't even a man. And therefore he was supposed to be subdued by the white man. But if you're saying he can carry a gun and march with you equally within your ranks, you're saying he's all men are born equal. You're saying the same thing Abraham Lincoln is saying. You only give a responsible and competent man a gun. So when the Confederacy had decided to use their slave power by putting guns into their hands, they turned what they said was property into men. For the white supremacists, they opened up a Pandora's box. And by doing that, they essentially destroyed their argument. So that's what I see with this. Oz has been exposed. He's just a little old man off to the side. The idea that cops can't be held accountable or be arrested or fired is bullshit. Maybe they did get fired. They definitely got fired quicker because they were black police officers. They definitely got... And all those things are working. People want to say, see, none of this stuff is working. All of it's working. The civilian police, they got fired. This was unheard of 20 years ago. They got fired. And why did they get fired? Because they were black police officers, so you know that it wasn't a racist thing. Maybe there's some internalized racism or not. I don't know. We can psychoanalyze the police officers later. But it strictly wasn't just about race. There's something else that's going on. You see that the cops are crap. You see that the cops are crap. Samantha Ramsey, those cops and judges waited until after the election day before telling the public that they weren't going to prosecute their own. They lost at least one of those elections too. That one cop union guy talking all that shit to de Blasio when de Blasio said we need a change in American policing. That's all de Blasio said. And then the police union acting like, well, we can't do our jobs. Cop unions do pretend like they'll defend their boys in blue no matter what the fuck happens, no matter how heinous, no matter how perverted their crimes. Where is the cop union? You're not going to defend your boys in Butte? Where are the damn thin blue line people? Pretending like power stops people from committing crimes? Oh, well, they had power, so that means they can't commit a crime. That makes no sense. If anything, it's the opposite. If power does, then deputize us all. You think power could be corrupting, but maybe power is the saving grace. Deputize us all. In Colorado, since we do have citizens arrest, in some respects, we are kind of deputized. If we witness a crime in Colorado, then we can make an arrest. The people in power need to be checked. So the Civilian Review Board, the majority being black hirees, I think those are good policies. The Civilian Review Board, and then I think the police chief is a black woman, right? But cops, they're like the Catholic Church, the thin blue line, right? They just pass each other around. They get fired in one precinct and then they go to another precinct. When they run into trouble in one town, and then the damn police union puts them into another town. So, of course, the black man is a man. The Civil War decided that a long time ago, but the black man was a man then. He is, today, and he will be tomorrow. The black man is a man yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He's been a black man, for a million years, actually. The black man is the original man. We all came out of Africa. We are all originally black. Black man has been man for like a million years, and we're just mutated albinos. We should humble ourselves in front of superior genetics. But we've already decided these questions, and Abraham Lincoln was correct in the 1860s, and he's, correct today. But the question, is the black man a man? Of course he's a man. What the fuck are any of you racist sons of bitches even trying to talk to? You're just a bunch of insecure. So the black man was the original man. All manhood, just like all of humanity, comes from the black man. 72,000 years ago, we put on shirts. 50,000 years ago, we broke out of Africa. 14,000 years ago, we got to America. 1 million years ago, black man has been chilling in Africa. We're all black men. All of humanity is black men. And the poor Floridians will never know that. We need public safety, so I got some policy suggestions here. For the people, we need to be kinder to one another. We need more caucuses, more political groups. We need a unionization. We need to share a kind word with each other. We need to have blueberry pie parties. The police could do better, but so could the people. The police come from the people. There's 46,000 people. The cops are going to need good people to help them out. Colorado is doing great. Colorado has changed a whole bunch of things. Changed daylight savings time, legalize weed, stop daylight savings time, a whole bunch of changes, and we're still here. Civilian review boards are good. The cops were fired. Having a majority of black police is good too because the cops were fired. You knew that it wasn't racism. Not directly. The police should reflect the people that they protect and serve. The police should come directly from the people. In fact, the people should be the police. And in democracy, and that's sort of how it works. I want more cop watchers. I want the cops to be cop watchers, but I want citizens and civilians to be cop watchers. Black Panthers. When the cops pull somebody over, have a cop watcher pull the cop over. Just observe the situation. Make sure there's not any crazy escalation. Make sure it's all in the up and up. I want to say the ancient Greeks, the democracy, they would have everybody be prepared to do all the jobs. Pull names out of a hat and everybody be prepared to do all the jobs. Whatever job it was. So everybody had to be ready to do anything and everything. I like that. I like that as a good system. So you might be a cop. You might be a cop watcher. You want to do your duty. You want to help us with the republic. You're going to have to pay attention to who's in charge. Pay attention to voting. Talk to your neighbors. The good neighbor. I love my good neighbor policy. Because if we need to abolish the police, we need public safety. So just theoretically, get rid of the police, and then you build up citizen groups. And once you have good citizen neighborhood groups, then the cops can come back or be amongst you. But they want to police your neighborhood, they're going to have to convince that neighborhood group. So I want a cop who's not afraid of other cops. A cop who is willing to arrest other cops like a Serpico. I like Serpico, Frank Phillips. I like Bass Reeves. I like that Ricky Rodriguez. And then Howerton seems okay. Rodriguez level with me. I like Andy Griffith, the dude, Johnny Hurley, Serpico, Tecumseh, my dog. A lot of dogs can confront evil. So let's give credit where credit is due. When cops do good, we should give credit where credit is due. I think police reform is needed. There are a lot of crappy cops, and there's been a couple times. I was driving around the mountains, and it seemed like the Colorado State Patrol wanted me to slow down so I didn't drive off the edge of the mountain. He was looking out for my well-being. He could have pulled me over, give me a ticket. He didn't. There was a guy that was driving in front of me, driving crazier, so that wouldn't have been fair. But I like that he drove, by me until I slowed down. And then once I slowed down slow enough for him, then he backed off. So the current president said that we need to pass the George Floyd Act. Now, I think we should. I think it's incredible. That's a great idea. Do it. We need to end qualified immunity. The police can be sued as individuals up to $15,000 in Colorado. Colorado's already done police reform. And, we're all still here. And we're just saying that the police should be held to account for that which they do. Qualified immunity? Nobody should have immunity for their crimes. What are you talking about? Body and dash cameras are working. Civilian review boards are working. Keep the body and dash cameras on. Keep them turned on 24/7, 365. In Louisville, you're still on duty even when you're not on duty, or you still got the power to, you had all your full police powers even when you were off duty in Louisville. So you need body and dash cameras on all the time. If something goes down, you're going to have to prove that the thing happened that you said. The days of everybody just being a bunch of fascist bastards and just believing whatever, crap lies come out of a cop's mouth are over. Also, I love the idea of a constitutional convention. 1838 Lyceum speech by Abraham Lincoln. He said we need to learn our nation's laws. We need to create a political religion that reveres our nation's laws. That speech was about the preservation of our political institutions. We should learn our Bill of Rights. When I was in Kentucky, I learned the state's Bill of Rights and America's. When I'm in Colorado, I learned the Bill of Rights for Colorado, and I combined them with America's Bill of Rights. Everybody should do that. There's even natural rights, which was a big gap, and I filled those rights in. According to my calculations, as a Coloradan, we have 88 freedoms. So creating a political religion which reveres our... Do you love America? Which of the three branches of government do you love the most? Which of the three branches of government do the cops work for? Do you even know how America works? Vigilante justice brigades in Guatemala. I just feel like the people, if you don't stand up to the gangsters and the criminals and the drug dealers, then it's going to be, the good citizens are going to have to stand up and maybe walk around your community. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know... I think we're going to have to circle the wagons. Get your friends, get your family. Or reach out to your friends and family. Reach out to your neighbors. We need a good neighbor policy. And pass the George Floyd Act now. There's a whole bunch of things to the George Floyd Act, and I'm going to read all these things to the thing. But, yeah, we need a kind of a good, strong, comprehensive policy. And one good thing about the feds is that they're saying that they're going to keep track of the police. I like that idea. The whole idea of federalism is that the feds check the states check the feds. And Biden was for George Floyd Act, passing the George Floyd Act. So Biden was for it. So he's ready to sign this damn thing. All you got to do is get the fucking legislatures. Lauren Boebert, I want the George Floyd Act to be passed. So the people need to tell the representatives, and then the representatives need to do it. So here's the George Floyd Act, and then I'm just going to end with that, okay? The George Floyd Act would grant power to the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division to issue subpoenas to police departments as part of pattern or practice investigations into whether there's been a pattern and practice of bias or misconduct by the department, provide grants to state attorneys general to create an independent process to investigate misconduct or excessive use of force by police forces, establish a federal registry of police misconduct, complaints, and disciplinary actions, enhance accountability for police officers who commit misconduct by restricting the application of the qualified immunity doctrine for local and state officers, and by changing the mens rea, the intent element of 18 U.S.C. Section 242, the federal criminal offense of deprivation of rights under color of law, which has been used to prosecute police for misconduct, from willfully to knowingly or with reckless disregard. Change it from willfully to knowingly or with reckless disregard. Require federal uniformed police officers to have body-worn cameras. Require federal uniformed police officers to have body-worn cameras. Require marked federal police vehicles to be equipped with a dashboard camera. Require state and local law enforcement agencies that receive federal funding to ensure that the use of body-worn and dashboard cameras are being used. Restrict the transfer of military equipment to police. C-1033 program, militarization of police. Require state and local law enforcement agencies that receive federal funding to adopt anti-discrimination policies and training programs, including those targeted at fighting racial profiling. Prohibit federal police officers from using chokeholds or other carotid holds. Carotid. That's how you can detect oxygen intake is from your carotid, which led to the death of Eric Garner. Requires state and local law enforcement agencies that receive federal funding to adopt the same prohibition. Prohibit the issuance of no-knock warrants, warrants that allow police to conduct a raid without knocking or announcing themselves in federal drug investigations, and provide incentives to the states to enact a similar prohibition. Change the threshold for the permissible use of force by federal law enforcement officers from reasonableness to only when necessary to prevent death or serious bodily injury. Mandate that federal officers use deadly force only as a last resort and that de-escalation be attempted, and condition federal funding to state and local law enforcement agencies on the adoption of the same policy.